evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe. It is where artists come to life. The spoken word brings forth the inner creations of hidden treasures, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that brings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds, be it writers, singers, spoken words, artistic expressions and painting, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas and opportunities through the mind at all levels. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where the birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the sky, dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina, gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Welcome to the Artists of Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCray. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to engulf a new wave of presenting this platform to our audience. So, sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started.
This is Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word with yours truly, Terry Benjamin and Ronald C. McCray. Our engineer for this evening is Pierre, and we welcome you, our community. Today's agenda is very simple and is dreaming a new dream. Many times we spend most of our lives chasing a dream, chasing a goal. But what happens when we reach that goal? Well, we need to find a new goal and dream a new dream. Some people don't do that, and some people sort of find themselves in a situation. So again, today's agenda, dreaming a new dream. And the quote of the day is, aging is a matter of mind over matter. If it don't mind, it don't matter. And this is from Satchel Paige, a baseball legend. And as always, we begin our show with Ron's poetry. And Ron, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, there's quite a few.
Oh, quite
a few.
So all over the place there.
As a matter of fact, let me just read a short part of this one, because you mentioned about dreams,
yes,
in essence. And so give me 1 second, and here it is. Let me just read. It's pretty long, but I'd just like to give a synopsis of this one, because, again, it's important. And this one is titled Dreams. Dreams, why are a compilation of pieces of images where somebody, everybody, nobody wants to hear about my dreams? Or what makes poetry sweet and mellow to the ear? We dream dreams. Why do we dream? Are you crying inside, laughing with pieces of love and joy? Oh, my soul, yearn for the love I never knew. Unveil thy bosom, faithful tomb, and take this new treasure to thy trust, and give this sacred relic room to slumber in its solemn dust. The spirit and time embrace my soul with unforgiving sorrow that knows and leaves no trace of memories. For time has no time, only the moment to reflect in my dreams. In my dreams, space of the universe, trees sway, branches flow, leaves fall where teardrops fade away. Birds soar with harmony, and the memories of my heart are stored. Do I live or do I die? If I cry, who will hear me? The sound in my head is the rumbling of a track as the train passes me by. Do I cry? Will they hear me? Or is it the figment of my loneliness? I need love. I need it now. Where is it at? How do I find it? I planted a garden of flowers, tulips, perennials, grapevines, and seeds, but no one seems to notice me. In my dreams, we dance the night away till the moon sets and the stars glitter as her smile spoke a whisper, and the fragrance of her breath welcomed my lips. Deep, lustrous, juicy, and sweet. Her lips, his lips, firm and masculine as the flavor of an orange ripe, and tender as a melon as I need love. I need your love. I need love more than whiskey or a drink. Bourbon with the hint of succulent mystique. His sounds, her voice in the wild, call me near. Slumber as a moment echoes and the sweet rush from my and the sweat rush from my palm. I need you. I need you now. Your eyes, they are filled with tears. It's nothing. It's my love. Do you hear or do I cry? Feel the pain. Dry my eyes. Hold me. Touch me. Caress my thighs. Don't leave me. I'm alone. I need you. Love me now.
Okay. That said a lot right there. What's the name of that poem again?
Dreams.
Dreams. Right? It goes in our theme, to dream a new dream. Okay, the dream that you outline in that poetry is very impactful because you talk about the things that we need as human beings. You never outgrow the need for love and affection and validation.
And that's what's important. We all dream of something. We have nightmares, and nothing worse than having a nightmare. But those dreams, nightmares say something. It's telling you to write a story, write your poetry, write who you are, write something. It sets the tone for your goal, your visions. But if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a vision, if you don't even think, then it starts to let the audience all around you. When I say the audience, I'm talking about life in itself. Because nature hear you. Nature feel you. Nature knows exactly what you need and what you're doing. And nature will guide you. But it's up to you to wake up and recognize the dream that you have. It has a meaning behind it. Did you talk to somebody? Do you speak to somebody? Do you ask for some kind of understanding? It's what's important. So again, dreams are important. We always have dreams. I don't care if you're thinking about something, but the bottom line is you have to have a dream.
Yeah, because again, I think that if you have a dream and if it's strong enough, it would really lead you through the rest of your life. Because again, I know that for myself, I told you that at 9 years old, I told my mother I want to be a writer. And I didn't really know exactly what that was, but that really spurred me to do research in that particular field. And that has led me through a lot of jobs and teaching positions and that kind of thing, only because I realized that the essence of being a writer is to accumulate material that you can share. And that's why I always say, one of the things that we talk about is it's habits and how habits make us who we are. And I just want to share a brief quotation, and this is from a gentleman named F.N. Alexander, and he says here, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. So what happens is that we make our habits, and our habits make us. And I know for myself is that I'm really a big one on routine, having a daily routine, because that sort of brings me through the day. Now, I can be flexible about it, but I know that what I'm going to do through my whole day because of my particular routine. And I can be flexible with it, but I have a reason for being. I find a lot of times people don't really have any kind of agenda for the day, and they find themselves sort of drifting, and I never saw myself in that way.
And it's interesting, and I want to say this seriously, but also in a joking way. Even trash have an agenda. Trash moves around. Trash don't just lay dormant.
Yeah, right.
If trash finds itself caught up in a corner, well, it got stuck.
That's right.
Well, how many of the people around you get stuck someplace? They get stuck because they trying to figure out their life. Well, you can figure out your life when you start moving, take a step. It doesn't matter even if you find yourself twirling around. Even a child goes to the playground and twirl around because they feel the happiness and the joy.
That's right.
So don't ever think that you're crazy or let somebody tell you crazy because you twirling around, but you're enjoying your moment. And matter of fact, this last thing, I think a few weeks ago, so before we came on the show, we saw this sister get off the train. She stopped in the middle of the road, but she was enjoying herself.
Started dancing.
And I'll be honest with you, I said honestly, for the moment, we thought she ain't had no sense. But it struck us to realize she was enjoying her moment, no matter how you look at it. Now, naturally, she didn't get hit by a car, but the point is there's a difference between enjoying yourself, being stuck someplace, not moving, but embracing your life.
That's right. And with that said, this afternoon, we're going to bring forward a guest that's going to help us plan for our future. And again, one of the things that we advocate on this program, we advocate healthy aging and lifelong learning. But when you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and beyond, you have to really decide how you want to live those years, you know. And it's interesting to me, Ron, is that you can get somebody who's 70 and another person who's 70, and they seem to be living separate lives, you know. And again, it's a fact of life. What you do in your 20s and 30s and 40s is going to determine how you'll do in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so I'm saying to our audience, our community, is that, you know, whatever your age you are, you need to plan for the future. And sometimes we need help with that. Because, again, I've lived long enough, and you have as well, to see a story from the beginning to the end, you know. And it is so good that we have people who are in that field to let us understand what we might have to look forward to, but how we can deal with that.
And how that works is when you see someone, especially an older person, who's moving around, enjoying themselves up and about and whatnot, that in itself says to me, and I'm going to use me as an example, I have to get to the next second of my life. Because anything can happen in a second.
That's right.
We hear that each and every day.
That's right.
We hear disasters and we hear this and that and the other. And it seems like the only time people come together when there's a disaster. And that's the sad part about it.
Yes, sir.
Rather than come together when there is a harmonious moment to share something, to tell a story, and then see how each one of us just enjoy the moment. Because you're right. No matter how you look at it, you see, you have to get there. But tomorrow's not promised.
That's right.
You don't know what the next hour may bring, or even a second. We can tell some stories of unfortunate situations, but it's not about that as a whole. But it's a reminder that enjoy yourself in the moment. Now, if you want to act crazy, that's on you. If you want to act silly, that's fine. But also keep in mind, be honest with yourself.
That's right. That's
No
right.
matter what the audience around you say, well, you ain't got no sense, you shouldn't be doing this. Hello, it's me.
Yeah,
It's all about me.
Yes, yeah.
Because nobody else can live for you but you.
That's right. That's right. And then with that said, we'd like to bring on our guest, because here's a young woman who can really help you to plan for the future.
And as we continue to get in, as we always say, you know, whenever we have a guest, we always recognize and respect the title and position. But in the same token, we also identify our guests as brothers and sisters.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so, again, we will be reminded out of respect if the title and the position is more appropriate. So we do that. Otherwise, it's our sister
That's right.
today.
Today. That's our
So
sister. Yeah.
I'm going to read you the background. Now, if she gets mad at me, I take ownership. So here, I'd like to read the background of our guest today. And forgive me if I don't pronounce the name correctly. Delia
Yes, Delia.
Polar, MSW, owner, Ageless Moment Adult Social Daycare. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Ageless Wednesday. Ageless Moment is where a new journey begins and more memories are created. We help you rediscover the joys of life through socialization. Delia Polar comes with a wealth of experience through her years of working in mental health. I got a problem myself.
We could deal with that.
Obtaining a bachelor's degree in education and a master's in social work. Her previous work history includes working in both inpatient and outpatient hospitals as a therapist within psychiatry. She has worked in nursing homes, group homes for adolescents and adults. Also, during those years, she found herself working as a therapist in family and children's services. In academia, she taught at Jersey College School of Nursing for over 7 years. Currently, she is an adjunct professor at Mercer Community College. Also, from Delia Polar, and I quote, "My goal is to continue growing my business and educating families about the importance of providing their loved ones with a place that they feel comfortable, loved, and nurtured, with a sense of dignity as they ride out what I call a beautiful end to their journey of life.
Yes, please.
And that is so important.
Thank you.
My sister,
You
my
did a
sister.
better job than I thought.
No, you did some work, according to that. But again, I guess my first question to you is, as a business owner, okay, I know that you taught at different colleges and that kind of thing, but what made you decide to go into your own business?
I guess at the end of the day, you recognize your own strength.
Okay.
And when you're working for someone and you're gaining years of experience, then you realize, like you said, dreaming.
Yeah.
I had my own dream, and I realized I can launch out.
Mhm.
And then I felt there was a need for it as well.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much a no-brainer that guess what? This is my shift, and I had to reinvent myself.
And the thing that I love about what you're doing is that we find that the senior population, and it's so funny when I talk about seniors because I'm not talking about myself, but the senior population, it seems, has expanded to the point where people are living longer,
Yes.
but because of you, they're not only living longer, but they're also living better lives. And I look at your business here, and it's here, Ageless Moments Adult Social Daycare. And I just want to, can you talk about the emphasis on social? Why is that so? Because I know there's many daycares, but I'm sort of struck by the fact that you have included social daycare. What's the distinction?
Well, there are two. Either it's social, the socialization aspect of it, and
Yes.
the other part is the medical.
Okay.
So you're coming with some form of independence
Okay.
where, you're being prompted to do certain things, but you're coming more for recreational.
Okay.
And that's the key. And that's the journey that, at some point, I'm actually the beginning stage.
Okay.
Because there will be a decline. So it's social, then medical, then probably assisted living, nursing home, and so forth. So I'm the first stop.
Now, is that the journey that you talk about? Because you talk about the journey, is the journey from
It's
independence to dependence? Is that what you're talking about?
it's
Or is
not
it
a,
journey?
you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't tell which way it's going to go.
Okay.
Because
good.
one day
Yeah,
you're
I
very
like that.
independent,
I like
and
that.
another
Yeah.
day
Oh, no, please, yes.
we can't recognize you.
Wow.
But I think
Wow.
why it's so important to me, because I think the lack of respect for the elderly is what I see more so. And once you're getting older, that
I only
doesn't
amuse you.
define,
I make you laugh.
It
Tell
shouldn't
me.
define
Tell me what's
you.
fun.
Is it me?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you're getting older, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden life has stopped. So I use the word journey that, you're going to continue living.
Yes.
But we're going to enhance the way you see your life.
Okay.
You're going to enhance the way you feel about yourself. You're just going to get this literally, that's why I use the word ageless. I don't want you to see your age.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's where the name came about, that you're just going to feel good, you're going to continue living, and you're going to ride out this journey one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's why I liked the title of your company is Ageless Moments.
Correct.
Because again, I know the older I get, I really cherish the moments.
Correct.
And sometimes they say that you shouldn't really, you get in your 60s and 70s and 80s, you shouldn't make any long range plans. But I think I disagree with that.
Correct.
In the sense that I've always liked to be looking forward to something and then sort of get caught short. But at least I'm looking for something. I'm striving for something. I think that everybody should have a routine that they follow so they know what they're doing from day to day to day. Now, you can be flexible with the routine, of course, but, you have something to do. I find a lot of seniors are bored.
Correct.
They're bored out of their mind,
That's right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't give them something, think about a typical day for you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have control of what
Yes.
you do.
Yeah.
You can go to the store, you can get in your car, you have control. It's different for the elderly. We're making decisions for them, and that's not think about just, sort of close your eye and figure out what would it be like if someone had to make decisions for you right now.
Yes.
What time you eat, where do you go, what do you put on? I love your outfit. Just imagine if I had to tell you what to put on.
Yeah.
Picture that.
Yeah, I would rebel. I don't want to wear that. That makes me look old.
But even with that, and it's true, and I think where the mindset comes in is understanding from an infant or child to a seasoned senior. Now, let me just take a second to say this, because what you just expressed was so true. As an adult in the present, so many look at their parents or their guardian as, well, I got to do this, I got to do that. And this, rather than understand from the senior's perspective, well, I don't want to wear this. Now, take that and flip it around at the younger age when a child says the exact same thing. No, I don't want to wear this. I want to wear this.
That's
and
right,
all of a
yeah.
sudden, they go out the house looking with all these colors, the hat and whatnot,
That's
and
right,
they're
yeah.
happy as hell.
That's right, because that's what
And
they
for
want to
me,
wear. Yeah, yeah.
I'm being honest with you, I get a kick at it because it says something. They do not
That's right.
mind how they look, but you can't tell them that what they have on is not right. But as a parent of that child, you embrace that child.
That's right.
Now, how come you can't embrace the seniors and allow them to enjoy their life in their last moment? Because the bottom line is, you got to get where they're at. Matter of fact, where they've been. You only getting started. So what's important, that's why even as our guest is talking, and her professionalism in her business is helping those not to forget that somebody still loved them.
That's right.
You see, look at the ones who still here. And look at the ones, unfortunately, who pass on.
That's right.
But the bottom line, life is what you make it.
And that's true. And I think that it's even more when you age, because again, like you said, you know, when you lose your independence, you lose a big part of yourself. And that's why I always give my mother and my father, who are up in age, I give them so much grace. You know, I give them grace, and I try to understand what they're going through. Sometimes it seems irrational to me, but I try to understand what they're going through. I try to reason with them. Sometimes there's no reasoning, but the thing is that to give them grace, because we're going. It's a privilege to get to your 80s and 90s and whatnot, and I hope that I can be there. But I hope that I can be in my right mind, in my right health, and like you said. You can do all the right things. You can eat right. You can sleep right. You can walk. You can do all this other stuff. And then in a moment,
Correct.
in the instance, you can like forget your train of thought, forget what you're thinking about, forget yourself. And then you're going down that particular path because, again, they say that, dementia really is sort of enhanced diabetes. And that's scary because, again, in our community, I'm talking about the African-American community, diabetes is very high. And I find for myself that dementia is very high. I don't know why that is, but that's a new thing that we have to deal with. So,
Can I also
yeah,
add
please.
something?
Yeah, I want you to come in there.
I think also for caregivers, if you think about it, they're afraid. It's almost like trying to figure out if they're looking at what could be.
Okay. I hear you.
They're looking at their mom, their dad, and is it a possibility that I'm looking at my future?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
yes,
that's
yes,
scary to
it's
them as
scary.
well.
It's very scary. Yeah, and it's scary to the point that you really have to understand that everybody deserves dignity, everybody deserves a grace, and we're going to come back to our guests, but I want to go to another segment of the program only because again we talked about healthy aging. And I think for me, one of the aspects of that is lifelong learning, because you can't really learn enough in this particular situation. And so I have two books that I want to share, Ron. One book that I want to share is a book called, and again, this is a classic. I found myself going back to the old books. And this book was actually published in 1991. And it's about Baruti Kafali. You remember that, brother?
I
book?
started reading that book. I got the same one at home.
The great minds think alike,
I got two of his books.
Yeah, I mean, because at one time his brother from Jersey City, he was really hot. And a book this book is called A Black Parent's Handbook to Educating Your Children Outside of the Classroom. Because I do believe that as parents, it's really our responsibility to educate our children. And a lot of people think you can just send your kids to school and that's it. No. You go to school and then it's almost like the debrief. What did the teacher say today? How did you feel? That kind of thing. And I think that we need to understand that our job as parents is education our children, especially in the area of reading. I just want to read this briefly from this book here, the Parent's Handbook to Educating Your Children. And on page 28, he says here, reading. Reading is one of the most fundamental things that we can teach our children. It should be encouraged in the home each and every day. Through reading, a whole new world is opened up to our children. Every aspect of life is contained in books. For example, if someone wanted to learn about the history of ancient Kemet, Egypt, the best way to learn about it would be to actually go there with a knowledgeable historian. However, if this were not practical or possible, the best alternative would be to read about it. This holds true with practically everything imaginable. All one has to do is pick up a book and begin to read. I know my first family, I had raised a boy and 2 girls, and every Saturday we would go to the library. And that was our routine. We have to go to the library with them, and I would take them to, have lunch, and that was part of our routine. They really enjoyed that, and that developed a habit within them. And so now they're adults, and they still go to the library. So again, a Black Parent's Handbook to Educating Your Children Outside of the Classroom, a classic. And the next book that I have is a book with a very interesting title. It's called The Joy of Retirement. The Joy of Retirement, Finding Happiness, Freedom, and the Life You've Always Wanted. And this is from David C. Brochard with Patricia A. Donahue. The Joy of Retirement. For a lot of people, there's no joy in retirement. As a matter of fact, I got the shock of my life because I was always talking about retirement and that whole concept of fixed income. And Ron, I didn't really know what a fixed income was until I wanted to do some things. A fixed income is cool if you can just stay within that lane, man. But then now as a senior, you want to date and you want to take trips and whatnot. That's not within fixed income, okay? It's too fixed. It's really tight. But the thing that I do like about this book is that, again, there is the joy of retirement. And the joy of retirement comes from our preparation, okay, our preparation. And basically, one of the things here that I just want to share here, that when we look at our senior years, there's things that we need to look at. And they also list 5 things. I just want to just touch on very, very briefly. And it says here, just a plan for vitality. And they look in terms of 4 areas: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And I just want to look at these briefly. Physical, diet. I'll eat healthy, putting only that in my mouth that nurtures my body and mind. No junk food. 6 to 8 glasses of water every day. Alcohol in moderation. 1 to 2 glasses of wine a day, possibly 3 or on special occasion. Exercise. Walk a minimum of 45 minutes 3 times a week, or substitute with a 1 to 1 hour bike ride or 1 hour workout at the gym. Yoga 1 hour twice a week. So again, suggestion for physical activity. Emotional mindset is my intention to live in gratitude for the countless blessings in my life. Relationships. I treasure my wife and family and will always work to be an affirming, a supportive, and loving presence in their lives. Friendships are also important. I will make time at least 3 times a month to enjoy and support these relationships. Personal growth. I acknowledge having developed a productivity-driven obsession, which all too often results in being short-tempered and cranky with my wife and others. I'm aware that my relationships are more important than the immediate task at hand. I'm ready and willing to let go of the obsessions that are not serving me or others well, freeing myself to live more fully, okay? Emotional and intellectual, professional. I will remain active in my life coaching work by staying up to date with the latest literature on adult development and the psychology of positivity, and by attending professional meetings and maintaining a part-time practice. Personal growth. I'll pursue my interest in history and world religions by reading biographies of noteworthy individuals and taking courses in world religions at the local university. I will continue to actively participate in our book discussion club. And spiritual, personal growth. I'll continue in my regular yoga practice with support of our local church. I'll also meditate for 20 minutes 3 times a week and take more time to stop and smell the roses. Goal, I'm committed to supporting my family and friends with humor, heartfelt appreciation and role modeling a life well lived. Professionally, I'm committed to helping my clients discover and apply their true potentials. I tend to leave this world when my time comes, with few regrets and a lot of joy in having lived a fulfilling life. And one last thing before I leave this segment of Mind, Body, and Books, I just want to offer to our senior citizens, if you don't have this magazine, please subscribe. It's AARP Magazine. I don't know about you, Ron, but I always like to read books that apply to me personally. And as I read these books, these magazines that I get every month, I look in the back here, and I'm just really sort of surprised about, these have these celebrities, and they tell, how old they are and that kind of thing. And a lot of times you don't realize how old these people are because we see them on the TV screen, and they seem to not age, But the point that I think we have to understand is that everybody ages, everybody gets older, and it's a blessing and it's a privilege. For example, just briefly here, in this magazine here, they have Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, 50. Alice Rodriguez, 50. Elizabeth Hurley, 60. Dana Carvey, 70. William Defoe, 70. And Helen Mirren, 80 years old and still acting. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you can get into your 80s and still do the things that you love, I mean, Denzel Washington, he's in his 70s, and he keeps on saying he's going to retire after he does 5 more films and 2 Broadway shows. But the point I'm making to community, again, is mind, body, and books. Please take care of your mind, read some books, and share some books, right?
Absolutely. I got 2 things I want to read, but I want to come back and ask our sister this question.
Yes, please.
And it goes back to, and it may look at it from a different perspective, but I think it's important. Ageless moments is where a new journey begins. What does it really mean for somebody who have not, or you think have not understood that statement?
I love that. That's a good question.
I think when I first thought about it, it's because of their physical state. Now, just imagine I may get someone that's going to start experiencing the onset of dementia. So now this is a new person or a new journey. Remember, they are literally leaving that old person behind.
Yes.
And I tend to sort of let the families know something new is happening, and I need you to embrace it. So you get to enjoy them if you realize if the mindset is it's a new journey, then go ahead and join us because this whole new life, it's new to them, it's new to the family. And it makes it difficult. If you don't accept something, you're going to have a hard time down the road.
Yes, yes.
It may be a journey for someone else who all of a sudden they're not getting the attention. They're now a widow.
Wow,
There's a loss.
Yeah.
They've been displaced, a new country, and maybe they lived in New York, and then the family says, no, we need to monitor you. Everything is a new journey. However you look at it, it's a new journey.
Yes.
And that's interesting because my other question to you is your staff, those who are employed under you. How do they see their journey in the moment and the environment that they're dealing with somebody else that's older, such as your business? Because I think that plays a very important part. Because as we know, factually, a lot of people take on these jobs and they get frustrated, irritated, aggravated because she ain't this and that and the other. The most important is understanding that what you take on is really should be who you are on how you see life.
That's right.
And how do you want to care for somebody else? Because again, anything can happen to anybody at any level or any age.
Oh yeah. And you have to let them know. I mean, when I turned 60, I screamed.
What?
But at the end of the day, and I see myself in them as well, and I let them know that. So, I'm caring for them, but I'm right behind you, But how I chose my staff, not based on degree, not based on, I chose my staff based on their heart, the love for the population.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So when the families come in and they say, oh, do they? I said, I don't want degrees. I said, if you want degrees, go someplace else because it's a matter of I want them to show that love and that compassion.
Yes.
And that's what my staff gives.
Excellent.
That's beautiful.
important.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Very important.
Yeah, because sometimes you can have all the degrees, but you don't have the compassion.
None.
You don't have that empathy.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And I think that in your field, your profession, empathy is key,
have
because
to
like
have
you
it.
said, what those people are going through, like we're right behind them.
Yes.
What my mother's going through, what my father's going through in their 80s, in their 90s, I'm in my 70s. I'm gonna be there as well. And I told my son, I said, if you see me slipping a little bit, please give me some grace.
Do you want a card? Ageless moment. Would you like a card?
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna need that. See, a community. I like to plan ahead. Okay, I like to plan ahead. I like to be proactive.
Excuse me. I like to ask this question, and not to get into the details of it, but the joyful moment of it. What is your activities like as innocent as a child? Do you feel like a child sometimes? Do you play the hopscotch? Do you jump rope? Do you just twirl around? What do you do to bring that excitement into you outside of your environment when you're working?
A happy person gives off happiness.
That's right.
A healthy person sees others as healthy. So you have to nurture you first. I have
That's a good
to
point. That's a
feel
good
good about myself.
Yes,
I have to like what I do. So my energy automatically radiates. It gives off to them. So
That's great.
once I see them, because remember they're bringing something to me as well.
Right.
Yes.
From the minute they see me, their face lights up, because there's a warmth, there's a caring, so I'm jumping, I'm dancing, I'm very silly. I have to admit it on air.
Silly is good.
Silly is good.
Hey, we do it.
We get downright silly. Get ignorant.
But it comes across because the most important thing is that I'm making a difference in
That's
their
right,
lives.
that's right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it comes across regardless.
That's just beautiful.
That's what's important
Yes.
because, again,
Very
you
important.
keeping somebody who, for the moment, think nobody cares about me, to know that somebody
Yeah.
do care. It's the exact same thing to how I see it as a child.
Yes.
When a child needs a hug, and it goes,
That's
hey,
right,
daddy,
right,
grandpa,
yeah,
whatnot.
yes.
Hey, can you
we
just
need
play?
that,
Can you
yes.
talk to me?
Yes.
All
yes.
they need is just that moment
That's
to
right.
feel good.
That's
Because
right.
you don't know what somebody's going through, whether you're a child or a senior or in any level.
Any level, yeah.
Because we hear too often of those unfortunate think that nobody cares, and
Yes,
unfortunately they
yes.
close the blinds on themselves.
Correct.
And that's not what it's all about.
That's beautiful. That's what you said is beautiful. You got a piece there you want
Yeah,
to
I
share?
want to read this.
Yeah,
This is
please.
short. This ties into the conversation too.
Mhm.
Nothing should divide us. Nothing should divide us. We who inherit the earth, who cheer the new moon peeking through the wounds, who admire the green leaves of summer, turning to lustrous red and yellows, who watch them fall to the ground, cold, brown, and stiff. We who give birth to new life, who are exhilarated by the sun rising, who are romanced by the sun setting, who dream the floating clouds. We who have a passing mark on the future of the world must have the same heart, must have compassion for one another, must have respect for one another, must understand that though we have differences, we all want the same thing. Nothing should divide us. And that ties into what our sister was just expressing in her environment. That's what's important. Nothing should divide us. Young, middle, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Black, white, green, male, female, whatever the case may be, because we all have a heart. And each heart pumps. But it stopped pumping because there's no joy coming. We have to be each other's energy to flow through one another to continue to have that heart pumping. As long as you see a smile and give a smile, you'd be surprised what difference you make in somebody's life.
Yeah, that is so true. And the thing is, I think that, just speaking to our community, that I think we all need validation. We all need to be heard. We all need to be seen. And many times we don't get that unless we're in the public view, unless we have a podcast or a program and that kind of thing. People tend to devalue us if we don't have a big title or a quote-unquote important job. people tend to sort of push us to the side. But Delia, when he's reading your bio, he was talking about you're a host of a podcast called Ageless Wednesdays. And what is that about exactly?
You know, it's interesting. I didn't know in the sense that, you know, how it began, but it's just a platform where I'm able to educate caregivers, you know, so they know what's going on within the agency itself on a daily basis.
Okay.
So I tend to just introduce, you know, what some of the activities are, and then we started having the families write in,
Okay.
and then I answer their questions, and then I can address certain, you know, topics with them.
Okay.
There was one that said, she wrote in and said, you know, how do you feel hopeful? You know, and I take it seriously when I'm answering them, because, and I have to be honest also, like, you know, what works for me.
Okay.
You know, nothing, you know, because when you're real, they'll know if you're not
Oh,
real.
yeah,
And
of course.
you have
Okay.
to have that, you know, transparency.
Yes, yes.
So I said, you know what works for me? You know, we all go through storms. So
Yeah.
either you're in a storm, you're going through a storm, and
Yeah.
you're coming out of it. That's life. If you don't experience 1, 2, and 3, then you're not alive. You know, and know that it's what it is. It's called a storm. You're gonna come out of it. It sort of prepares for you the next thing. Either it looks alike, the next one that's coming, it mimics similarity, or it's a new storm. But that's part of life. So even when they call and say, well, how do you keep hopeful? And, you know, my mom is doing this, my dad. And I give them the reality and the assurance that it's going to be okay. This is just part of life. You know, see them where they are. You know, don't get frightened.
Yeah.
You know, and guess what? It's okay not to have the answers. Are you kidding? Some days I wake up and I don't have the answers, and I accept it. But the beauty of it is that, okay, what's next? You know,
Right.
and fear is good. Fear just makes you tap into, you know, what do I need to do? But take it for what it is. So I guess part of, you know, telling them what's happening with the program and what to expect. But I also realize that as much as, you know, the seniors need the program, the caregivers need it even more.
Yes, yes.
That's what they don't realize.
Yeah.
You know, from the minute they start bringing mom into the program, and then I'll say, how are you going to spend your day? And they look at me like, what do you mean? I said, yeah, how are you going to spend your day? To the point now, you know, we close at 6, and I'm like, where are they? You know, I'm like, but I love it because they're realizing that I too can have a life, you know, because the elderly, they can figure out if they think that you think they're a burden to them.
Okay.
Right.
They're
Okay.
smarter
Yeah,
than
yeah.
you
Yeah.
think.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
You
yeah.
know, so, you know, and they would say to me, what should I do? I said, take a deep breath before you go into the room, before you ask a question.
Yes.
Put a smile on your face.
Yep.
Have a demeanor that says, I'm okay with what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying you, mom. I'm enjoying you, dad. Because if you go in any other form or fashion, they will know that they are disrupting your life, and that's what you don't want.
Wow.
Absolutely.
No, they don't.
Right.
No.
Absolutely.
So the podcast just, you know, introduces, you know,
Okay.
what adult social daycare is like, what families need, you know, how to redirect behaviors. You know, I remember, I think on the last show I spoke about, you know, the elderly doesn't like to take a shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because it doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
We have all these fancy shower heads, and it hurts their skin. And I learned that from my mom.
Wow.
It hurts their skin.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it looks pretty,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
doesn't work. So in my facility, we have a shower, you know, so I tailor it to what the needs are, you know. But it's fabulous when you realize that you're making a difference.
Yeah. Now, when you say Ageless Wednesday, is it every Wednesday? Is it at a certain time, or what?
It's usually in the mornings, but I guess you may post it maybe in the afternoons.
Okay,
So
okay.
oftentimes I do the taping most likely on the Wednesday itself, or maybe late Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
One taping, by the way. I choose to do one
That's right.
taping is because guess what? I want my families to see me human in a sense.
It's more
I don't
authentic.
want it
Yeah,
edited.
yeah,
I don't want it cut. You know, when I make an error, I say, all right, so okay, I'm tired. You know, but the fact of the matter is, you know, I'm giving you information. I'm not here to present that I'm a professional. This is not my area of expertise. You know, I want you to see me as a family member. I took care of my mom for 5.5 years. You know,
that's
I want to
amazing.
almost say I kidnapped her. But I did. I kidnapped her in New York, brought her to, you know, and I sort of gave her, I kept saying, you're going to love it here, Mom. She was very independent.
Yeah.
And I said, come, let me share, you know, let me take you out. Let me take you.
That's
And
beautiful.
it was the best experience I had before she passed away.
Wow. I mean, I can really relate. Ron,
You know, this is a very powerful conversation, a dialogue that we often try to have, but you can see things from different perspectives. And whenever we have a guest or somebody from somebody else's perspective and what they're dealing with on a regular basis, it's really a reminder to help those who aren't in that environment.
Yes.
And yet
yes,
you
yes.
may have somebody that you have to care for at home, a loved one. But this is so important for you to take heed to learn something. Get your pen and pencil, write some notes down. You can dial in, call in, you call the sister, go visit a place. Learn something, because the bottom line is all of us, from an infant that cannot speak, even the moment that they cannot see, they sense something.
That's right. That's
And
right.
just like the sister said, even with our seasoned seniors, who if something hurt waters, you think about yourself. How many of us are going through something, but we don't share that because we think we're doing okay?
Yes.
Until, unfortunately, somebody find that you're not doing okay. You know, even if there's a perception, something appear to be, it doesn't hurt to ask a question. Hey, you okay, bro? What's going on? My brother asked me today. You know, I say, I got robbed by the bank. You know?
They took my money.
They took my money. But let me read this too, sure.
Please.
We must overcome hate. We must overcome violence. We must overcome greed. We must overcome fighting. We must overcome cruelty. We must overcome all that tears people apart, and concentrate on all that brings people together. That's what this conversation, it starts into this conversation. It's all about that.
Yeah.
It's bringing somebody together, because again, just like adults, we should be able to go to a senior and whatnot and listen to their story. It doesn't matter how it sounds. You listen to a child's story and they tell you anything. Hey, what da, 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 da. But the bottom line, you get a kick at it. But it's not so much getting a kick at it because you're insulting a senior. You're getting a kick because they bring to you their memories when they was young at some point in their journey that you have to travel. Because where you are today, you think you have arrived. You have not arrived until you get to where somebody else ahead of you is at. Then you look back, because every second there's somebody that's younger than you have not experienced in that second that you experienced something during the moment you was wherever you were standing doing whatever. You see, we always say one person's trash is somebody else's treasure, but trash is not trash. You see, it's treasure that just haven't been found.
That's right.
And I say that with all due respect, because the seniors are those who, because I worked in a facility for the state. And there's nothing worse, because I knew that wasn't my environment, but I learned and I respect, because there's nothing worse than you having facilities, even in nursing home, and nobody comes to visit, nobody cares, and you see them up against the wall because the staff themselves could care less about it. They just doing the job and collecting a dollar. You see, that's the sad part about it. The seasoned seniors, the seniors is our history. We learn from them. No matter how you look at it, we learn from each other. We have to embrace one another. Listen to the story. There's no story the same. It may sound the same, it may look the same, but it's not the same, because we feel something different. We're just looking to express. We just want somebody just to give me a hug. Can you give me a hug?
Yes, and it's interesting, because I got a call from one of my oldest friends. His brother, he's white. You know, I call him a brother, but he's 88. And he was really a big guy in the shoe industry, you know, and also he had patents for Ninja Turtles and that kind of stuff, the sneakers and that kind of stuff. So he's making a lot of money. He's 88, and I'm helping him work on his memoir. And just a fascinating man, a fascinating story. And I encourage all seniors to think about writing your memoir, because again, one of the reasons I do this program is not just because I enjoy it and hanging out with my brother here, but I do it for my grandchildren, because I want them to know when I pass that Pop, he was kind of interesting guy, and I can go and see him on YouTube forever. But the thing that I want to make note is the fact that we all go through this journey. We all going to go through this journey, and I really Dee, I really, I really admire you so much, because I know when I first met you, the energy that you brought forward, but what you're doing with this daycare is just a beautiful thing. So how can they get in touch with you, and where's the daycare located?
It's in the Monroe area of New Jersey. What is it? 209 Applegarth Road,
Okay.
Suite 103. It's in that Gables Plaza.
Okay.
So we're open Monday to Fridays from 9 to 6, and Saturdays also from 9 to 1:30. Because I figure, guess what? You may need the break. Families may need the break on a Saturday. It's not a lot of hours, but you'd be surprised if you only have 3 hours that is for you. It works for you. So I'm there to serve. I enjoy it. I want the families to utilize it.
And what does the day look like for the seniors who come there? Do they have activities? Do they have lunch? Do they have breakfast? How does it set up? Yeah.
I'm not predictable in the sense that, I'm not going to put on the the wall the same activity over and over, because I don't want to do the same things over and over.
Okay.
So they'll come in, they'll have breakfast. I do serve breakfast and I do serve lunch.
Okay.
I actually like to see them eat.
Okay.
And they do eat,
Yeah.
And I make sure I monitor the allergies. The families will share what they like, what they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is they eat more with me than they do at home. And
Yeah,
the
see
families
that?
are like,
Yeah.
why is that? I said, because I have the time, and they're among more people, and
Yeah.
it's a different setting. No one's timing them. Hurry up, I have to go. So even something as simple. I'll diverse a little bit. Even
Yeah, of
simple
course, yeah,
as
Mhm.
when the families pick them up and they're using their walkers. You want to hurry them into the car. How fast can someone in a walker?
Yeah.
So
There's some grace here.
Yeah, you have to kind of retrain yourself to recognize what you're up against. But during the day, they start off with some like the news, some watch television. They have their breakfast, and then we go to do activities.
Okay.
Lots of arts and crafts, painting, bingo. We do a lot of memory games, card games. It's what else? Also, the exercise therapy, we link them up to different things because you have to keep them active.
Yes.
Cheer aerobics and so forth, but be mindful of what they can and cannot do. Their limitations.
Yeah.
But when they get with me, they start jumping like they think they can do it. I'm like,
Wait a minute.
I'm
Calm down right now.
I gotta answer.
But again, I'm sure because of your situation, they have something to look forward to.
Yes.
Monday through Friday or Saturday, they know that they have a certain routine,
Yes.
and I think that's important. I think that we have to have something to get us up in the morning and to bring us through our day. Because if not, I see life as being very, very dark,
Yeah.
and I don't want to see that for anybody.
No, and they do a lot of talking. They love to talk. They do.
And I guess they more or less have a captive audience, right? Because everybody got to be there for what you like. It's like just 3 or 4 hours a day. Is that what it is?
You know what? The families tailor what they need.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it.
Okay.
So I recommend no less than 3 hours
Okay.
because you want them to get used to the other clients.
Okay.
They choose as many days as they want.
Oh, beautiful,
I have clients
beautiful.
that literally come in from 9, leave at 5.
Okay.
I have
Oh,
some that
wow.
come in from 3, leave at 6.
Mhm.
So because it's the needs that you have. It's not I don't determine how many days or how many hours that you want.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like your flexibility.
Absolutely.
Because again, like you said, because there may be a senior who I don't want to come every day. I want to
Correct.
come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And then
And
you
I
can have
yeah,
it.
and
Absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Ron, what say you? Ron?
Which is no different than a lot of people don't want to get them to go to work.
Oh yes, I've experienced that.
They don't want to get up. They don't want to cook. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do
It's
this.
like work
Well,
Monday.
yeah, right. I don't want to go.
Let me read this too. And I have one piece I'll say a little later.
Okay, yeah.
All mothers are sisters. All fathers are brothers. And all children are one. When you interact with children, you must always keep in mind that everything you do and say has an enormous impact on their lives. If you treat children with love and respect, it will be easier for them to love and respect themselves and others. If you treat children with freedom and honesty, it will be easier for them to develop confidence in their abilities to make decisions. If you treat children with intelligent sensitivity, it will be easier for them to understand the world. If you treat children with happiness, kindness, and gentleness, it will be easier for them to develop into adults capable of enjoying all the beautiful things in life.
Yeah, I love that.
No matter how you look at it.
That's right. It's beautiful.
Because I'm a child.
Yeah, of
I
course.
get
yeah.
abused all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what's important, because even as our sister, our guest is talking about in her profession, and as the question, the cue, and the dialogue we are having,
That's right.
all that's important because, again, it says all children are one, all of us. In the Bible, Paul says, when I was a child, I act like a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things.
That's right. That's right.
But Jesus also said to be as innocent as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a difference between putting away childish things, because you ain't acting crazy, because that's one of the pieces I wrote, in adult daycare, but I say that out of respect, But the thing is, to be innocent as a child with a smile like our guests and like we do, to laugh, to hug and embrace. That's all it takes. And you'd be surprised. You could change the whole dynamics and directions of somebody who might be going through something.
That's so true. What that time look like? Because time goes so fast here that I don't want to run out of time. So get about 5 minutes. So again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming in, and we're going to have you come back, because I like the whole concept of the Ageless Wednesdays, and whether it be Wednesday or Friday or Saturday or whatever, what you have to say is just so succinct, but it's impactful, and that's why when I saw one of your Ageless Wednesdays, I said, "Wow, this is nice," and it wasn't, I think, maybe 10 minutes at the most. But it was really on point. And so, again, community, we're going to have her come back for more Ageless Wednesdays, because we're here Thursday and Sunday. But when she comes in, it's going to be special. But, Ron, you got something to sort of take us out of here?
Yes. This is the ability of aging. I'm sorry, the agility of aging. Aging is a gift, a manifestation of life, not a moment feeling that life has failed you. Look around at those who have exceeded their ability not to think about what is wrong, but to look at what they have done. Their quest pushed them to get up and make a difference rather than cry the blues on what is not available to them, but use their imagination and belief to say thank you for who I am and whose I am. What will I do today? Belonging is the first step towards a goal unseen. The dream to see a vision on the horizon is a long journey to get there without thinking about how far I got to go. The agility of aging is taking the opportunity to continue with clarity on the things one enjoys, and a list of ideas, no matter what they may be. All that it takes is an uplift to smile with no regrets or toils. Agility conquers heights, valleys, traveling through whatever turns you make. The ability will always welcome you to a place called heaven's sake. Springtime, summertime, winter, and fall. Where have you been, and what story have you told? Conversation brings inspiration to many or none. What have you shared? The agility of aging is the purpose of living without feeling inexhaustible, regardless of any disability.
Yes. The agility of aging. And again, this has been Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word, with yours truly, Terry Benjamin, and Ronald C. McCray. What does our time look like? Because I'm trying to squeeze the most out of this lemon as I can,
I know. I'll take a minute and give you a minute,
Okay.
whatever the case may be.
Yes,
but what's important is that this conversation, as we always said, the importance, agility of aging. Don't think, well, somebody a burden. No, because when you think that somebody else is a burden, think about somebody who don't have the energy to even have the energy to deal with situation, because all of us are a burden. As long as you think negative, then you become a burden to yourself. And now you're mad at the world. The world didn't do nothing to you. You did it to yourself. But just smile and break that fracture of ice, that cold, dry ice cube around you and say, so wait, I know somebody loves me. Somebody wants to
Yes,
embrace me.
yeah.
Somebody needs me because I need somebody.
Yeah, and again, and just going back to the memoir project, what I've done with my friend who's 88, and also I'm doing with my mother. I'm actually taping. I'm getting her on tape. You know, she's speaking to my my tape recorder, and I'm going to transcribe those tapes, and that's going to be her book. But again, the agenda for the day is dreaming a new dream, and you're never too old to dream a new dream. And so, on that note, we want to.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make.
I don't know what to our theme music, but let me do
I'm
this.
funny
I'm
how? I
sorry.
mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. Tell me what's fun.
Well, we're just gonna say goodnight.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty doesn't hurt. We have it all the time. Nobody's perfect.
But at least have that in the program. Look, good night. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye bye.
Everyone.